If you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television.
Sunny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked, and you went on stage with it, and it's nothing.
Just
there.
go for it. Yeah,
there's nothing there.
I mean, Pat, you're married. Tom, you're married. If your husband's doing something, if he's allegedly doing something like this, you guys would know if your wives were up to some nefarious stuff. But let's just not forget who she is. She's been, for years, lecturing America about morality, inequality, systemic failures, and look at her track record. How many times has she had to go on in the past 2 months and look at the camera and do a legal apology for all the stuff that she said on the...
Sunny Host on The View has been making headlines recently, but this time, it's not for her controversial takes on the show. No, this time, it's about her husband, Dr. Emmanuel Hostin. And let me tell you, the headlines were anything but kind. Dr. Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon, and his practice, Host Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, have found themselves at the center of a major storm. The accusations? Insurance fraud, kickbacks, and, get this, a massive RICO lawsuit involving 180 defendants. This isn't just any case, folks. It's a full-blown blockbuster. Before we dive into the drama, hit that like...
I agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance, and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
Button and subscribe so you don't miss any of the twists in this Hollywood-sized scandal. Breaking it down. The RICO Act, Racketeer-Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, was designed to target organized crime, think mobsters and gangs. But here's the twist. The ones in the hot seat aren't criminals from the underworld but doctors, surgeons, and medical practices. Imagine a courtroom drama that feels less Goodfellas and more Grey's Anatomy, but with a whole lot of fraud mixed in. The lawsuit claims that Dr. Hostin and others were allegedly running a scheme to exploit the healthcare system. They supposedly took kickbacks for performing unnecessary surgeries and billed insurance companies for procedures that may never have even happened. Picture this. Patients going under the knife, insurance companies picking up the tab, and money.
I want a citizen that has a policy. I mean, I'm not saying that Joe Rogan should be removed from Spotify. He's got 11 million listeners. He's got a $100 million, contract as of 2020. But I do think as the podcast platform, you have to have some sort of guidelines. How about a disclaimer on his podcast that says, this is misinformation? How about removing some of the podcasts that disseminate this misinformation?
They have.
And that's...
Listen,
changing hands like it's a high-stakes poker game at the hospital. The juicy details. The lawsuit specifically points to Dr. Hostin, alleging he received financial incentives for recommending or performing arthroscopic surgeries, those minimally invasive joint procedures. On the surface, these surgeries might seem like no big deal, but the lawsuit claims that many of them were completely unnecessary. Were these patients truly in need of knee or shoulder surgeries, or were they just pawns in a scheme to make a quick buck? If the allegations are true, this could turn into one of the biggest medical betrayals, leaving even...
It's always the people that always do the pointing, and it always comes back to them, all right? So when you said, this is the largest RICO case ever filed in the state of New York, you guys wrap that around your brain. That's bigger than the mafia case. Like the mafia one was number one. This one takes it over. So he was scamming insurance companies from taxi drivers, Uber drivers, and Lyft drivers. He was performing unnecessary surgeries and then providing fraudulent medical services in exchange for the kickback.
And soap opera scandals in the dust. Imagine trusting your doctor, only to find out you were just part of a financial game. That kind of betrayal hits deep. Enter the plaintiff. American Transit Insurance Company, ATIC, claims they were swindled out of millions, alleging they were billed for surgeries that either didn't happen or weren't necessary. It's like paying for steak and getting tofu instead. But let's be honest, insurance companies don't have the cleanest track record either. They've been accused of underpaying doctors, denying claims, and exploiting loopholes to...
According to a new lawsuit obtained by Page Six, the orthopedic surgeon was one of 200 defendants named in one of the biggest racketeer, influence, and corrupt organization cases ever filed in New York. Emmanuel was accused of federal insurance fraud and, quote, getting kickbacks by performing surgery and billing a company that insured taxi companies and Uber and Lyft drivers.
...avoid payouts. So, the big question is ATIC really exposing a massive healthcare scam? Or is this just a desperate attempt to shift blame from a company teetering on the edge of bankruptcy? Dr. Hostin's defense. Dr. Hostin's lawyer, Daniel Thwaites, didn't hold back. He called the lawsuit a meritless move by ATIC to recover their losses, labeling it a last-ditch effort by a company in financial turmoil. His defense shifts the focus onto ATIC, painting them as the real bad guys. Classic courtroom tactic: turn the tables on your accuser. Public reactions. Meanwhile, podcast king and media critic Joe Rogan didn't pull any punches. Rogan called out The View for what he saw as pure hypocrisy. He reminded everyone how Sunny used to throw shade at others, acting like she had all the answers.
I saw you on The View.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's been overwhelming my past couple days. So I just went in there, did my thing. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know who Sunny Hostin was. I actually still really don't know. So I wasn't expecting necessarily for her to kind of try to ambush me in that way and attack my character in that way.
Well, it is the show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
They get so much hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean,
yeah.
it is a rabies-infested henhouse.
Answers, while possibly knowing about her husband's shady dealings. Rogan went all in, roasting the show and saying, if you average out the IQ of The View hosts, you might still struggle to hit triple digits. Harsh. Definitely. But his fans were loving it. Silence speaks volumes. While Dr. Hostin fights to clear his name in court, Sunny has stayed eerily quiet. Normally, she's all over controversies on The View, but when it comes to her husband's scandal, silence. Why the quiet? Is she sticking by him, trying to distance herself, or waiting for legal advice? Fans are buzzing. Some think she's protecting her image, while others wonder if she's just avoiding being next in line. The bigger picture. Dr. Hostin is just one of 180...
Her husband accused of committing federal insurance fraud in a lawsuit. Okay, now let's read this. Rob, is this a video?
Well, I have this. I'll show you this about.
Let me just read this and I'll come to you. So, Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, an orthopedic surgeon and husband of The View co-host Sunny Hostin, is accused in December lawsuit fraudulently billing insurance. By the way, this is a Daily Caller story I'm reading. The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation, and names him among nearly 200 defendants in one of New York's largest RICO cases. Wow. Hostin's attorney, Daniel Thwaites, denies the allegations, calling the lawsuit a meritless attempt by a near-bankrupt insurance carrier to intimidate doctors and restrict healthcare benefits. The case involves claims that Hostin performs unnecessary surgeries on patients after minor accidents without exploring less invasive treatments, with American Transit citing New York's 1974 no-fault law as contributing to widespread insurance.
Or waiting for legal advice. Fans are buzzing. Some think she's protecting her image, while others wonder if she's just avoiding being next in line. The bigger picture. Dr. Hostin is just one of 180 defendants in this lawsuit, which includes other doctors, medical practices, and even hospitals. If these allegations are true, this could become one of the largest medical fraud cases in history. At the core of this scandal lies a much bigger question. How much trust do we really have in the healthcare system when money seems to matter more than patient care? When doctors and insurance companies prioritize their bottom line over people's well-being, trust erodes. As of now, Dr. Hostin hasn't been found guilty. These are just allegations. But the courtroom battle is shaping up to be a spectacle. Both sides are gearing up for a fierce showdown. So, grab some popcorn and stay tuned. Whether Dr. Hostin is guilty or innocent, this case is already exposing some uncomfortable truths about the healthcare and insurance industries. If you enjoyed today's breakdown, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss a single update.